You speak English. People understand you, but something feels off. It doesn't sound natural. It sounds like you're reading from a textbook instead of actually talking. Today, I'm going to tell you exactly why that happens, and the simple fix that nobody in the English learning world ever talks about. Welcome back to Fluent Speak Lab, the channel that tells you the truth about English that most teachers are afraid to say. Every single video here is designed to solve the real problems keeping your English stuck at a level below what you deserve. If you haven't subscribed yet, do it right now, because today's video is going to change the way you speak English forever. I want to tell you about a feeling that I think you know very well. You are in a conversation in English. Your grammar is correct. The other person understands everything you are saying. There are no major mistakes. By every technical measure, you are speaking English successfully. But something feels wrong. Something feels stiff. Something feels like you are reading sentences off a page instead of actually talking to another human being. Your English is correct, but it does not sound alive. It does not sound real. It does not sound like you. And the worst part, you can hear it yourself. You can hear the difference between the way you speak and the way a native speaker talks. That effortless, flowing, rhythm-filled way they put words together. And you cannot figure out what the gap is because your grammar is fine. Your vocabulary is decent. Your pronunciation is understandable. So what is wrong? I am going to tell you exactly what is wrong. And I promise you, once you understand this, you are going to have one of those moments where everything suddenly makes sense. The problem is not your grammar. The problem is not your vocabulary. The problem is not your accent. The problem is that you are building your English one word at a time. And that is not how natural English actually works. Let me explain what I mean with a simple example. If I ask you, how are you feeling today? You might say, I am feeling very tired because I did not sleep well last night. Grammatically, that sentence is perfect. Every single word is correct. A grammar teacher would give you full marks. But here is what a native speaker would actually say. I'm exhausted, honestly. I barely slept. Same meaning. Completely different feel. Shorter, more rhythmic, more real. The difference between those two sentences is not grammar. It is not vocabulary. It is something called natural language chunking. The way real English groups words together into living, breathing phrases that flow automatically. And here is the painful truth about how most English learners are taught. They are taught grammar rules and vocabulary lists. They are taught to build sentences correctly, word by word following the rules. But they are almost never taught the actual living phrases that native speakers use automatically every single day. So you end up speaking English that is technically correct but humanly wrong, like a robot that has learned all the rules but has never actually lived. That ends today. Here is something that will completely change how you think about English. Grammar perfect English sounds unnatural. I will say that again because it is counterintuitive and important. Grammatically perfect English spoken in real conversation often sounds robotic, stiff, and unnatural to a native speaker's ear. Why? Because real spoken English breaks grammar rules constantly. Native speakers use contractions everywhere. I'm, your, it's, Dave. We'd never the full forms in casual speech. Native speakers drop words that are technically required by grammar. You going to the store? Instead of, are you going to the store? Native speakers use informal connectors constantly. Like, honestly, actually, write words that appear nowhere in your grammar textbook but appear in almost every sentence of real conversation. When you speak with perfect grammar in a casual conversation, you sound like you are giving a formal presentation or like you are reading from a document. And native speakers, without even consciously realizing it, feel a slight distance from you, a slight awkwardness, because you are technically correct but socially off. So what is the secret ingredient that makes native English sound natural? The answer is called collocations and fixed expressions. These are word combinations that native speakers have used together so many times for so long that they have become automatic units. They are not built word by word. They are stored and retrieved as complete chunks. Let me give you some examples. Native speakers do not say, I have a big hunger. They say, I'm starving. They do not say the weather is very cold. They say it's freezing out there. They do not say, I am very happy about this. They say, I'm thrilled, or honestly, this made my day. They do not say, I do not know. They say, I have no idea, or honestly beats me. These are not just vocabulary alternatives. They are prepackaged language units stored whole in the brain, retrieved instantly, without any word-by-word construction process. And here is the key insight that changes everything. When you speak using these natural chunks, your English does not just sound more natural. It actually becomes easier to speak. Because instead of building every sentence from scratch, word by word, under pressure, you are retrieving whole phrases that your brain already knows as complete units. This is exactly how native speakers speak so fast and so smoothly. They are not building sentences in real time. They are combining pre-stored chunks like snapping Lego pieces together effortlessly and automatically. Your English sounds unnatural because you are building everything from scratch every time. The fix is to start collecting and storing natural English chunks and using them until they become automatic. That is the simple fix that nobody talks about. And starting right now, I am going to show you exactly how to do it.
All right.
You now understand why your English sounds unnatural. You understand the difference between word-by-word building and natural chunk speaking. You understand that grammar perfection is not the goal. Natural flow is the goal. Now here is exactly what you do, starting today, to transform the way your English sounds. This is called the chunk collection method, and it is simple, powerful, and something you can start immediately. Here are your 5 immediate actions. Action 1. Stop learning words. Start learning phrases. From today, every time you learn something new in English, do not write down just the word. Write down the whole phrase that word lives in. Not just exhausted, but I'm absolutely exhausted. Not just agree, but I completely agree with that. Not just idea, but that's actually a great idea. The phrase is the unit. The phrase is what you practice. The phrase is what goes into your brain as a chunk. Action to build your personal chunk collection. Get a small notebook or a notes app on your phone and call it your chunk collection. Every single day, collect 5 natural English phrases from real sources. YouTube videos, podcasts, movies, TV, shows, conversations, anything where real native English is being spoken. Write down the whole phrase. Write down the context it was used in, and then most importantly, say it out loud 10 times. Not to memorize it mechanically, but to let your mouth and your brain get familiar with how it feels to say it. Action 3. Replace your textbook phrases immediately. Think about the English phrases you use most often in conversation, the ones you always fall back on. I am fine. I think that is good. I do not know. I am happy. Now, find the natural native alternative for each one. I'm doing great, honestly. That sounds amazing. I have no idea. I'm so happy for you. Write your replacements down. Practice them daily. Make the swap deliberately until the natural version becomes your new automatic response. Action for shadow, natural, conversation. Not formal speech. When you do your daily shadowing practice, be very deliberate about what you shadow. Do not shadow news anchors. Do not shadow formal speeches or presentations. Shadow casual conversation. YouTube, vlogs, podcast hosts talking to each other, friends having a natural discussion. Informal interviews. This is where natural chunking lives, in the rhythm and flow of real casual speech. Copy that rhythm. Copy that flow. Copy the exact chunks they use. Action 5. Use your new chunks in real conversation the same day you learn them. This is the most important action of all. The moment you collect a new natural phrase, use it today. In a real sentence, in a real conversation, even if that conversation is just with yourself out loud. Because a chunk that stays in your notebook never becomes part of your speaking. A chunk only becomes automatic when your brain has produced it under real conditions. In a real communicative moment, your English already has a strong foundation. Your grammar is there. Your vocabulary is there. What has been missing the entire time is the natural living layer that sits on top of all that knowledge. The chunk method is that layer, and once you start building it, consistento, every, single, every, English will stop sounding like a textbook. It will start sounding like you. Your English is not broken. It was just never given the right building blocks. And now, you have them. Right now in the comments. Write one natural English phrase you learned today. Just one chunk. Practice it publicly right here. Because saying it once in real life is worth more than reading it 100 times. Share this video with someone whose English sounds too textbook right now. You might give them the breakthrough they have been looking for. Hit like. Subscribe to Fluent Speak Lab. And remember, natural English is not born. It is built one chunk at a time. See you in the next video. Let's go.